Thank you. Mr. Malinowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's wonderful to see you, Madam Secretary. I remember staffing you at these marathon sessions years ago, and now here I am with a chance to ask you some questions. I want to start by saying that I really appreciate your commitment to bipartisanship and your effort to give credit even to an administration that you're largely critical of on some issues. I've tried to do the same thing, largely supportive of what they are trying to do in Venezuela, for example. I think they, in some ways, are getting China more right than some previous administrations. But I do want to come back to a question that has permeated our discussion today, and that is what's happening to our moral authority in the world. Does it help us in the struggle for democracy and against dictatorship around the world when our president is calling our free press the enemy of the people, or questioning the credibility of our own democratic elections, or attacking the integrity of our intelligence community and our law enforcement community?
I think it's very damaging, because I think, having spent a lot of time talking to a variety of foreign leaders and them basically saying, you mean you want us to do this, but what are you doing, and saying, our moral authority makes a difference. I think that one of the issues, and I always like to refer back to my father, he believed that the U.S. needed a moral foreign policy. That's different than a moralistic foreign policy, which kind of dictates everybody what to do. But we do need to have our value system in place. And so, and the press, a free press, is the basis of democracy. You cannot call them the enemy of the people, because it gives Putin a chance to say the same thing. So I am very much concerned about what kind of a model we are, or example we set.
Yeah, in the same vein, I could ask, does it help us stand up to the Maduro regime, which has turned Venezuela into a socialist country by issuing emergency decrees in opposition to the elected Congress of that country, when we are issuing emergency decrees of ourselves?
I have been troubled by that, because emergency decrees are sometimes used for the wrong purposes in order to exacerbate problems. I'm very glad that the Congress voted against the emergency decree that President Trump put out.
Thank you. On to the Senate. And I think that the bigger picture here, and we haven't really brought this out thus far, is it's not North Korea, it's not Venezuela, these are individual crises. It's that we have two great powers, Russia and China, that are challenging the world order that we built and our moral authority to lead it. And it seems to me we are squandering some of our greatest advantages in that fight, our alliances with democratic countries that willingly work with us, the example that we set at home, the consistency in the application of our principles around the world. I was there with you in Munich and heard Vice President Pence's speech, and one part of it that really struck me was when he asserted at the very beginning that America is back as the leader of the world, and virtually nobody applauded. Can we be the leader of the world if nobody follows?
No. I mean, and that's the part of the thing that is terrible, is I can't, and you were there, I can't repeat how proud I was to represent the United States. And I think that the fact that we have given up on a lot of our principles and that people question our trustworthiness or what our motives are, I think is weakening us. And the responsibility of any president of the United States is to worry about our national interests, but they are being undermined by the way that we are treating our friends and allies.
Yeah. And wouldn't you agree that President Putin's primary strategic goal with respect to the United States is to divide us from our allies and to break our moral authority?
No question. And we forget that we are dealing with a KGB agent who knows exactly how to use propaganda, and he has now militarized information. And what he is doing is systematically undermining our friends and allies in Central and Eastern Europe. He developed another oxymoron term, which is authoritarian capitalism, you know, or illiberal democracy. That's what he and Orban have in common. And I think he knows how to separate and undermine, and we have to push back on that because I have said this, he has played a weak hand very well, and we have played a strong hand poorly.
Thank you.